kind of like the opening to Mr. Dress Up. For some of you people who understand Canadian 1970s and 80s television, which is more than usual. Listen, we have the Globe and Mail article in full, the one that's hidden behind a paywall. And it paints a very, well, there's several things in this article that I would consider to be new information. Many of you are already aware of it, but for the sake of keeping up with things in real time, I spent the last 3 hours making screenshots. I believe, like, how many is there? 39 of them. You know what that entails, Daniel? That entails me pressing Control Alt, or my how does that go again? Alt Shift and S on my keyboard is the shortcut, and then I put a number on it, like 1 through 39. You hear that, Jeannie? 1 through 39. That would make it my content now. Although, it's still the same article. It's a picture of a picture, and it's fantastic. It's good to see a blue opal. Man, I was feeling all kinds of emotions listening to Justin over there go through it and read every little bit of it. And I thought I would do the same as well because it's out and it's fresh. And it certainly gives us something to talk about. You want a summary of it before we begin, Julia? I'll give you a breakdown about what it's about through. But we're into it's. You've got to get the flavor of the journalistic writing here. It's fantastic. Hold on, let me see. Do I have a breakdown? I'm not sure if I do. Yeah, I do. Hold on. One moment, please. Maybe I don't. We're going to read it nonetheless. Some of the key points from the particular article from the Globe and Mail. The article paints a grim picture of the children's home life, Julia, and raises red flags about the parents' behavior and credibility. Start with the living conditions. The family lived in a cluttered, run-down trailer on Highway 289 in Lansdowne, owned by Daniel's step-grandmother. That's not right. Daniel's step-grandmother, Janie McKenzie, that's his mom. That's a little off. Something's confused there. The trailer had holes in the floor, tarps for protection, and was chaotic, with Janie retreating to a camper in the driveway due to all of the noise. The children played in the yard near a chicken coop in a small fort in the woods described as their little dream world. However, the environment was harsh, with dense forests, bogs, and black flies. The school noted the children arrived grubby without proper winter clothing, prompting staff to provide clothes. This suggests some unfortunate neglect in all of this. Here, where are you? Where do I see you people? Where's my... Hold on. Welcome. There's that filter again. Coming through you through X-ray. Let's see. But too fast and cuz I've been caregiving to my son. What are you saying down there, Julia Hayden? Summaries are always great. Sometimes in the thick of it, we miss things because we are filled with adrenaline. This is true. This is true. I'll summarize it before we get into reading it, if it's necessary in that circumstance. Then we're going to get into it. One moment, please. Yeah, what's up, Cracker Jacks? These children were failed miserably by the mom and CAS. They had a duty to protect these innocent little ones. Of course, we all do. When you know it, that's how this article ends in this circumstance. There we go. We're back. So as you can see, that's my note number 1, so I don't lose my place. I do have some repeats because I was stealing it from Justin's live stream. Thanks a lot, buddy. He went ahead and paid the Globe and Mail. They want 39 cents a week. After 4 weeks, then they charge you $40 a month to read that garbage paper. Heaven's sakes, that's a lot of money. They're so difficult to get out of, too, especially newspaper subscriptions. No, I'm good. We'll just read this article, thank you. Now, let me see here. Let me finish this up for Julia. Summarizing. The summary. To the day of the disappearance on May 2nd, 2025, Julia, Malaya marked both children absent from school at 6:15 a.m., citing Lily's cough. The school bus passed the home without stopping, as the children were not outside waiting. The parents claim that they heard the children playing while they dozed in their bedroom with their toddler, Meadow. Daniel reported seeing Lily briefly at 9:40 a.m., but later the couple noticed the house was quiet and the children were gone. Malaya called 911 at 10 a.m., instinctively remember instantly, and Daniel searched nearby roads. A single child-sized boot print in the driveway, and the absence of Jack's blue dinosaur boots and Lily's pink rubber boots and a strawberry backpack were the only clues. A large-scale search involving volunteers, drones, helicopters, and police dogs followed, covering the property, nearby woods, and abandoned mine shafts. A torn pink blanket, initially denied by Daniel as Lily's, but later acknowledged was found a kilometer away. Red flags and contradictions. Starting with Daniel, his inconsistencies. Daniel initially denied the pink blanket was Lily's, but later suggested it was planted from his garbage. Is my audio okay, my volume? Let me know in my chat. Let me check too, by the way, before I get too committed into all of this. Should be okay. Should be just perfect. Daniel contradicted himself about daily routines, claiming he was the one who fed, calmed, and put the children to bed, despite earlier stating Malaya did so. Old Daniel claimed he passed a polygraph test, but everybody disputes this at this point in time, suggesting he lied extensively. But, who really cares at this point in time? He's the only one that considers himself to be exonerated because of this test that nobody, it doesn't stand up in court, holds no weight. It's just a tool of the investigators. If only this was the Maury Povich show. Now, child welfare concerns. A social worker visited the home months before the disappearance due to concerns raised by Salt Springs Elementary about the children's developmental delays and appearance, it says. Heaven's sakes. Jack had a black eye in December 2024 and possibly September 2024, which Daniel attributed to Lily. Lily reportedly had a black eye on May 1st, 2025, attributed to an accident with a Tonka truck. Belinda noted that the children appeared malnourished with dry, cracked lips in photos, a detail she might have noticed in person if she was allowed to visit. Going on to the family dynamics, Julia, are you listening? And allegations, this is in your summary before we start. Malaya described Daniel as controlling. Allegedly, he held her down and took her phone. She confided to Connie Brooks that Daniel hid a rug addiction, likely math, for nearly a year. Though, some people doubt her claim of ignorance. Family members turned on each other during the search. Malaya's family, that's okay, I guess it's worth mentioning right now, friends, because finally we get a more clear understanding of what happened at the end of the driveway. They noted it in the paper way back May 1st. And you got led around by Daniel in an indirect manner. You could never really exactly put your finger on it. You knew it was probably something about something. But now that it's out here, it's a lot easier to say, that makes a lot more sense now. No wonder Janie was on the attack, because somebody was alleging Daniel was tweaking out. Exactly, absolutely, Daniel. They called you out. Your own family called you out. And then Julia kicked all of the members of Malaya's side off. Get out of here, you sons of bitches. My Daniel, he's so innocent. I don't even know what to do with him. He's so innocent. Let's see. Malaya's stepfather accused the couple of stealing, and financial struggles were evident. Daniel's work hours were cut. His car was inoperable, and child support payments had stopped due to unpaid taxes. Family members turned on each other during the search. Malaya's family accused Daniel of involvement, slap on the back there, leading to heated arguments. Janie ordered Malaya's relatives off the property. Get out of here, you. Moving on to the community and investigation, the RCMP received over 600 tips, it says, and conducted 800 tasks, including polygraph examinations, seizing electronic devices, and awaiting forensic results, on items like the pink blanket. The $150,000 reward was offered by the Nova Scotia government. Now, a neighbor, another key piece here, friends, a neighbor reported hearing a loud 5-speed car coming and going from the trailer 6 times between midnight and 5 a.m. on May 1st, 2025, suggesting suspicious activity the night before the disappearance. Oh my God, that's huge. The case is considered highly unusual by the RCMP, evolving into a complex major crimes investigation. Abandoned mine shafts in the area linked to a 2002 unsolved homicide are still being searched. Public and family reactions. Belinda, the children's grandmother, believes answers lie within the trailer and the suspects. The children are not alive. She regrets not pushing harder to see them and feels everyone failed the children. Some people more than others. Online true crime communities, including the Vancouver-based YouTube channel, have fueled speculation, you sons of bitches. The ladies at It's a Criming Shame. With Daniel frequently engaging in chats and suggesting the children were taken. That's all he can do. Rumors of the children being held on reserve were dismissed as racist by Chief Michelle Glasgow. Yeah, but she was hard on Belinda. That's in the past, though. Crazy times. Justin's commentary. I don't need that. So let's get on and start talking about this article. Let's read it. Let me see this. I really probably should blow my nose before I start. Uh-oh. I'll force myself. What are you talking about there, Drippy? Janie had to protect Daniel and kick them all off the property. Janie protecting. Well, think about... I thought it was really interesting the way that she presented some of what happened the day of they reported the kids missing during the search, when Daniel was trying to discuss quietly, separate Malaya from the rest of the people, and Cindy wouldn't let that happen. Good for her. She broke that cycle, that cycle in that moment, which was really nice to hear. She got in the way of Daniel, and old Daniel, and his intimidating that he was doing over Malaya in that moment, trying to, stay one step ahead of the game going on. Cindy's the one that separated Malaya at that point, and good. Now it makes a little bit more sense, but he told Cindy to GTFO when she tried to prevent him from dealing with Malaya away from other people's ears. There's probably a lot of that sort of hush-hush going on around there, I suspect. You can see it in the picture. You can see it in the picture with Stupid 1 and Stupid 2. You can see it in the picture when Daniel is sitting there beside his mom's four-wheeler and Justin is just sprawled out there soaking up some sun while everybody else searches for these children in that sense, that particular day. What a shit show that must have been to watch. If only you could have tint there and have some drone footage of that particular moment. Watch it in like 10 times speed. Good to see a house music. Anyway, that's me just going off on a rant there. Sorry about that. Julia. What are you saying to me, Mama, first? My goodness, 1 minute. I can never catch a laugh today. I caught two. Love is well, listen. Today is a good day. There's a lot of information out there, and you could talk about it all day. I want to know what you think. Norbeaster, they aren't pleading for their safe return. They have the maternal instinct of a turnip. Turnips are terrible. Okay, so let me get this started. Excuse me for coughing in your ears. Let's switch into something more comfortable, shall we? Oh, look at this. Oh, welcome to the bigger screen, my friends. Why don't you make yourself something to drink, and I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey. But first, I've got to blow my nose. Where is my... Oh, there, my video capture device. There it is. Hello, everybody, again. Welcome. Let's have a look. Somebody took off with all my paper towels. Hold on. Let me go sort this out first. I'll be right back. I got to fix something. All right, that's much better. Much better. Now I don't have that to distract me or you. Tammy Burke, yeah, that's not what Wade said. I wonder if through marriage, though. Glasgow is a black name here. Paris is a well-known family name. I think that they're all descendants of black loyalists. Probably. Probably Heinz 57 like the rest of us. No, I'm not really. Well, kind of. Stop being racist in my chat, girl. I'm gonna start pulling that virtue out. Tossed salad here, Julia. What the hell is going on in my chat? I'm just fucking around. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know about all that, Julia. I'm not really... They can do what they want. Well, it's not going to stop justice in this particular case, in this circumstance. And listen, like we were talking about before, Malaya does look like both a suspect and a victim in all of this, sadly. She's put herself in a situation that she's been victimized. But this is part of the mystery, isn't it? Because we need to figure out exactly how involved she really is. It seems that day, by the way they're portraying it, that Daniel was asserting his will upon her in front of everybody. Can I talk to you alone for a moment, please? Cindy, why don't you shut the F up? Girl, get the hell on up on out of here. Shut your mouth. Don't interrupt me and my property. This is my bitch, and she's going to do as I say. especially right now because there's an emergency situation, our emergency. Cindy's got more right to be there. She's more kin to those children than he is. Oh, we can see a little bit of the veil slipped, a little bit of the power twitched. Somebody opened the curtain. That's the Wizard of Oz standing there. He's exposed. With a little bit of the control and the power dynamic exposed in the open. Daniel, it sounds like, was part of the reason why people started turning on one another. Like the way you're acting in that moment like that. No wonder people are turning on you. This should be a time where you're supporting and focused on only one thing. No time for secrets. Can I talk to you for a second, Pierce? Let's talk. Can I talk to you quietly over here away from everybody for a second, Malaya? What he was going to say to her. I wonder what he was going to tell her. I wonder what he was going to say that was so secretive in that moment. Shall we begin? Let's see. Deep in the middle of Nova Scotia, far from its quaint coastal town, sits Lansdowne, a hamlet around 100 people in a cellular dead zone. It's surrounded by endless spruce forests, bushes like razor wire, and bogs that breed swarms of black flies. Sounds pretty reasonable. Like many faded settlements across the Maritimes, Lansdowne reached its peak more than a century ago. At least it had a peak. About 150 kilometers northeast of Halifax, it was once a busy railway stop, bustling with Scottish immigrants who dug iron and copper mines deep in the hillsides for rich folk way back in the old country. Now, today those mine shafts are abandoned. One lone train a day cuts through the community with a melancholic blare. Most of the people here live in a quiet rural existence in secluded homes scattered along backcountry roads that only locals know, where chickens and large dogs roam free and the rusted skeletons of old vehicles sit marooned in the dirt. It's like a Tragically Hip song, for crying out loud. Much like American Appalachia, this once prosperous corner of Pictou County is now economically stagnant. 1 in 5 children live in poverty, higher than most other countries in the other counties in the province. It's here where the lives of Lily and Jack Sullivan were implanted 2 years ago. To a rundown trailer set back from Highway 289 with their pregnant mother and stepfather, they needed a place to live. And their step-grandmother, talking about Jack and Lily's step-grandmother, who owned the home, Janie, welcomed them to live with her. How did AI screw that up, I wonder? Anyway, stupid AI. Let's see. Say Highway 289, eh? Better write that down. It's here where the lives of Lily and Jack Sullivan were implanted 2 years ago to a rundown trailer set back in from Highway 289 with the pregnant mother and stepfather. The boyfriend. It's not a stepfather, it's a boyfriend, bro. They needed a place to live, and the boyfriend's moms, who owned the mobile home, welcomed them to live with her. That was 2 years ago. Holy shit. Life for Lily, 6, and Jack, 4, inside the cluttered trailer in Lansdowne was chaotic. There were holes in the floor of the front stoop, tarps to protect the underside of the trailer from the elements. Makes sense when you're up north. And so much racket from the lively children that their step-grandmother, Janie, soon retreated to a camper in the driveway. Retreat is an indicating word there. She retreated. She couldn't handle it anymore. Well, who was going to cook for the kids? Who's going to cook now? Their stepfather, mom's boyfriend, Daniel Martell, 34, so he's already got a significant age over this young girl. With pale eyes, tweaking, and ropey arms, worked at the local hardwood mill till he had to leave because of stress. Took him stress leave. The mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, 27, a member of the Sippy-Kinnick First Nation. You know what I'm talking about. With a chin-length dark hair, stayed home with their baby Meadow. At least you have an excuse because you've got a baby. Inside the mobile home, a large wood stove filled up most of the living room. The kids' artwork was pasted to the kitchen wall next to the sliding patio door that led to a yard where they spent hours playing next to the chicken coop. Lily chattered away with her dolls and stuffed animals. Jack turned over rocks and pieces of the wood in search of bugs and worms. Outside the fenced backyard and up over a steep embankment, the children sometimes played in a small fort nestled beneath boughs of spruce. What the hell is a bough of spruce? Burrow of spruce. That's a bullshit word. Anyway, it was like their own little dream world, it reads here. Most days, Jack and Lily hopped onto the bus to attend Salt Spring Elementary, a rural school about a 20-minute ride from their home. Jack, smaller than his peers, was strapped in at the front of the bus next to his sister. The morning the children were reported missing, the big yellow school bus rolled past the mobile home without stopping for a second day in a row. Jack and Lily were usually standing by the side of the road waiting to be picked up. But earlier that morning, May 2nd, their mother had marked them absent from school at about 6:15 a.m. Both parents have said it was because Lily had a cough. They say they heard the children playing in the next room while they dozed in the bedroom with their toddler. Daniel said he saw Lily pop in and out a few times at about 9:40 a.m. The couple says they awoke and realized the kids were gone. Quote, "They were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time, and the next thing we knew, it was quiet," she told CTV Atlantic. Quote, "We get up and I tell my partner, Daniel, 'Do you hear the kids?' And he says, 'No.' Instantly, we are looking outside. We are looking everywhere, yelling for them." This wee shit. Jack and Lily's mysterious disappearance had baffled the county. Not most of us, though. More than 3 months after that... More than 3 months after they were reported missing, after one of the largest searches in Nova Scotia's history, and with intensive police investigation, police still haven't confirmed the circumstances of how the young siblings went missing. It's possible that there were clues, even potential warning signs, in their home life. A closer look into the lives of Jack and Lily shows that all was not well in the trailer at Lansdowne. Oh, that's a powerful statement, Daniel. It's almost like the RCMP detectives wrote this article themselves. There's Henry Brooks on the left waiting for the news people to arrive, I think. And there's that stupid son of a bitch on the right-hand side, Daniel Martell, who's guilty of double murder at this point in time. As far as I'm concerned, I'm sorry if that's a little bit too forward. Everybody, welcome Belinda Gray in the chat. Please be respectful. Yeah, hey Belinda, sorry it may have sounded like I was being hard on you like weeks ago. I have to apologize for that. I knew it right after I made the video that I probably shouldn't. I didn't, because I didn't feel the same way after I made it. as how I came across the information, how it was portrayed. But you're okay in my books there, Mrs. Gray. So this is Daniel on his... Daniel Martel is on stress leave from his job at a hardwood mill. He says, people in the community sometimes give him dirty looks. Oh, fuck, you just wait. Suspecting him of having something to do with the disappearance. This is taken by Chris Donovan from the Globe and Mail. Like, even... Listen, let me give you some advice, Daniel. Even in, sadly, other missing children cases, you don't see the parents out there posing like a moron in front of a camera with makeshift images of the kids up there in hopes to make yourself look somehow more of a caring individual than you otherwise usually are. Completely unnecessary. A person who has the need to get in front of a camera and do this is all about themselves, aren't they? Jesus Christ. Oh, jeez. There's other ones out in the woods again. Maybe they were asking him to do this. Oh, do you want to... Like, what is this supposed to mean? A picture holding up Jack and Lily. It's supposed to represent his fictitious, made-up feelings and get that on record, because that's more important than anything. Absolutely. I mean, I guess he has to look like he's making an effort. He's got absolutely no problem stepping on the backs of these poor children. None. Let me continue on this lovely little reading. That morning, Jack's blue dinosaur boots were gone. So were Lily's pink rubber boots and her white backpack with strawberries. The only clue left behind, according to the parents, was one child-sized boot print in the dirt driveway, a few meters from their home. Boy, I just can't figure that out. Malaya called 911 instantly, instinctively at about 10 a.m. Daniel said he jumped in her white SUV and left to check nearby dirt roads, culverts, and streams. Soon an army of search and rescue volunteers arrived wearing orange hunting vests. They fanned out, conducting a grid search in a swamp and thick woods around the home. Drones and a helicopter scoured overhead. A police dog on a leash with a handler set about the yard. Police combed every inch of the property. They rummaged through the mobile home, reached inside a hamster cage. This part cracks me up a little bit. This is how crazy of a crime scene that they're walking onto here. Police combed every inch of the property. They rummaged through the mobile home, reached inside a hamster cage. For what? What the hell did you have to reach inside through some nasty old hamster cage for? What was in there? Like, you couldn't just see in there? Tore apart a brush pile. Had to be moved anyway. Unzipped the suitcase lying in the middle of the yard. They opened up the top of a dryer at the end of the driveway and peered in the chicken hut. What? Holy heaven sakes. Heaven sakes. Oh, yeah. I guess you have to check everywhere. That morning, Malaya messaged the children's paternal grandmother, Belinda Gray, who's so thoughtfully graced our chat at the current time. Thank you very much. I never thought that they would quote, I never thought they would run off on me like that. Malaya wrote to Belinda. I'm so distraught. I was crying before, and let me tell you the reasons why I was crying. Hours later, and still no sign of the children, Malaya floated the idea. Let's just float some ideas around here. Maybe that's what her and old Daniel were so hush-hush about. Hours later, still no sign of the children. Malaya floated the idea that Jack and Lily were abducted. Hey, I was just doing some thinking, guys. All of a sudden, see, let me tell you two rookies something. When you're sitting around a bunch of cops, all right, the cops that you've called on yourselves, and then you start volunteering all kinds of ideas, like secondary ideas that get away from the reality of the situation. Like, no, there's no buying this situation. Just because you idiots bring up the fact that you think that there's a stranger abduction doesn't automatically make it so. And it tells a bunch of cops that you know probably what's going on here. And you're withholding evidence in this sense, offering up new ideas. You're volunteering information on yourselves. Not that that's a bad thing, because the sooner they arrest you, the better. But you guys are so stupid. But again, they have to do this out of desperation. It's not like this was a recreational thing or something. Hours later, still no sign of the children. Malaya floated the idea that Jack and Lily were abducted. Quote, many are suspecting they were picked up by somebody, she texted Belinda. Who is? Because there is no trace of them or Lily's backpack. That would not be, so what does one thing have to do with the other? Daniel, meanwhile, was tearing through the woods on foot and wandering in streams, telling people he was moving faster than the police helicopters. That's because he just did like a few lines of that crazy methamphetamine. That day, carloads of family members pulled up to help search. In the mid-afternoon, a non-encrypted radio channel crackled with the voices of emergency responders. Quote, families brought us to a location there, not far away, that there's a piece of a blanket, which the mother says she believes belongs to her daughter, radioed an official. Emergency responders dispatched a canine unit to the site, where they seized Lily's pink blanket, torn and wound around the lower branches of a spruce. It was about 1 kilometer from the mobile home, off the gravel Lansdowne road where Daniel's father and uncle live. The road runs deep into the backcountry, connecting with dirt roads that snake further into the wilderness to remote lakes, backwoods, dumps, we were just at one, and clear-cut tracts of land. Maybe that's what it is. You guys are living at a dump. When a police officer asked Daniel about the pink blanket, he says it wasn't Lily's at first. Police began pounding on doors into the early hours of the next morning. They came to the door of Daniel's father, Earl Martell, a retired tire plant worker who lives atop a hill in a bungalow he built himself 40 years ago. And boy, can you ever tell where Daniel got his carpentry skills from, or lack thereof. Because this place is like a set from some sort of horror movie. Maybe that's what he was going for. Officers peered with flashlights into the corners of his living room. Hold on, where did I go there? Officers peered with flashlights into the corner of his living room, jumbled with the craft supplies. Oh, what are you making? And Hot Wheels of Daniel's 2 school-aged biological children who often visit on weekends. So hold on here. What are you trying to tell me? Police began pounding on doors, so they came. This is at Earl's house. Like, you go to Earl's house to take your kids there? Whatever. All right. They came to the door of Daniel's father, Earl Martell, a retired tire plant worker who lives atop a hill in a bungalow. This dude, he's buying Daniel groceries. So he says, and gas money. Man, you're hard up. Daniel's thinking about getting into investing. Well, you better start. Let's just start betting on the futures up in the exchange. By the way, I'm up big time. I'm up like 300% in my trades today. Anyway, officers peered with flashlights into the corners of his living room, jumbled with the craft supplies and Hot Wheels of Daniel's 2 school-aged biological children who often visit on the weekends. Interesting. Earl, not anymore, Earl guided police into the yard to old campers in a derelict log cabin we noticed filled with junk. The place needs a match. And to Daniel's older model black sedan in need of repairs that he couldn't afford. Let's get rid of the car then. And that, of course, that looks like Earl's house right there. Earl, is that your house, bro? Come on. But this, well, I can't go up anymore. Hold on, there we are. I forgot to screenshot. Police also banged on the door of Belinda in the middle. Mosquito Bolt. What in the hell kind of place is that? Mosquito du Bois. Okay, that's what it is. It's French. Mosquito du Bois. Mosquito du Bois. Holy shit. About half an hour from Lansdowne, they were looking to talk to her son, who has been living there for the last 9 months after losing his roofing job. But Cody Sullivan haven't seen Jack and Lily since he and Malaya separated 3 years ago. 3 years. 3 years now. He cut ties after she filed for full custody of the children. Over the coming days, police returned twice more to interrogate him and take photos of vehicles. Belinda, we got to find out who drives that vehicle that was seen 6 times in that driveway that night, that 5-speed. Have you talked to Daniel's neighbor at all? You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me in chat. But if you go and talk to that neighbor, perchance just accidentally run into him, that's something that you might want to try to figure out exactly what vehicle he thinks he heard. Was it a car? Was it an ATV? Whose? Has he heard it before? Has he heard it since? Anyway, secondary thinking. Through the night, search and rescue volunteers combed the woods, and helicopters and drones that can detect body heat scanned overhead. That must have been the classified technology that Daniel was referring to. Ha 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 ha, you're so dumb. Malaya was up too, texting with Belinda. Quote, I have reason to believe they may have been taken by someone, she wrote. This is them trying to get feelers and plant that seed out there of their early fake-ass Durwood, this Darren O'Grady story. Hoping that would grow some legs. Better luck next time. Wah, wah, wah. She wrote, I have reason to believe they may have been taken by someone. Yeah, what reasons are those exactly there, sweetheart? Reasons to believe. If you really actually had a reason to believe, you'd be sharing them then and there, by the way. She wrote, you probably would have shared that first thing. Anyway. She wrote, they should have found them by now. They should have found them by now if they were in the woods. Well, bingo. The next morning, Belinda set out to help search for her grandchildren. As she drove toward the trailer on Highway 289 past the trail of orange traffic cones, it hit her where she was headed. Oh, shit. That tweaker's house. Over the last 2 years, Malaya had distanced herself from Belinda. She stopped bringing the children to visit, later explaining that Daniel was jealous and didn't want her going there or giving out the address. That's charming. The grandmother said she never had been invited to the house. Until she showed up, well, you're not missing much. Until she showed up to help in the search, Belinda didn't know this was the home her grandchildren were living in, a home that she'd noticed multiple times on her way while driving to Halifax. Wow, wow, she says she thought as she stepped inside to speak to Malaya. Everything she saw, from the junk-strewn yard to the cluttered kitchen, oh God, was the total opposite of the neat and tidy woman that she used to know. Even though she'd heard it once before, she needed to hear it again. What happened, she asked. Malaya opened the low, rumbling, sliding patio door in the kitchen, demonstrating how she assumed the children quietly left the home while she and Daniel were sleeping. Oh, God, what a... Well, Malaya, Belinda recalled saying, "You're the mom. You know these kids." You're the mom. You know these kids better than anybody. So where do you feel they'd go? What would take their interest? What direction would they go? Malaya had absolutely no idea. Well, you asked too many questions, number one. She isn't prepared to answer any questions. You're just supposed to take what she says as face value, don't you know? That's how these things are supposed to go. It looks like nice, what do you call that, a border collie? I'm not sure if those are wild turkeys. I can't tell from here. I don't think so. They look like geese, or I don't think they're turkeys. Lansdowne Road, about 1 kilometer from Jack and Lily's home, is where police seized Lily's pink blanket. That must be probably the area there, which has been sent for forensic testing. The roads around the children's home wind past and cut off there. So, to finish that off, the roads around the children's home wind past an array of rural properties, train tracks, natural gas pipeline, and a small lake. That day, as search and rescue teams tramped through the woods, rolling ankles and plucking ticks from their skin, Malaya stood on the side of the highway in front of a local television camera. It's been raining here and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they're feeling warm. Slap, she said, swallowing back tears. We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home. Everyone loves them. She also took to Facebook pleading for police to issue an Amber Alert, a national public alert to help locate abducted children. Quote, "I want my babies home. My children are not shy to strangers and will go with anyone. They don't understand stranger danger," she wrote on May 3rd. Daniel also pushed for such an alert, telling the Globe and Mail that abduction is a possibility. Is that right? You're the only one saying that. The suspects are the only ones saying that. You know what else is a possibility? That you're going to win the lotteries and get the hell out of that fucking ran down trailer. That's a possibility too. Is it likely? No. So she took us to Facebook pleading for the police to issue an Amber Alert to national. So Daniel also pushed for such an alert, telling the Globe and Mail that abduction is a possibility. Something he said he tried to raise early on with the police. But he said they looked at him like he was crazy. No, that wasn't crazy. They were looking at you because they just recognized where the guilty parties are. Every time. Give yourself away, boys. You just can't wait to give yourself away. It's like, what the hell do you have to lose at this point, Daniel? You may as well go for the goal. Perhaps it's because the home is so remote where few travel or have a reason to pass by. Also, Nova Scotia police require specific criteria to activate an Amber Alert, including a description of the child. You barely could even give us a description of what they were wearing, you two idiots. And the fact that more time goes on, you should know what they had on. And you want to tell people that it's not important. You and that idiot Jeannie's private chat. Let's see. Nova Scotia police require specific criteria to activate an Amber Alert, Daniel, including a description of the child. Abductor, well, we have a clear description of them. The vehicle. or vehicle and reasonable grounds to believe an abduction has occurred. In this case, listen closely, RCMP have repeatedly said they have no such evidence. By the way, Daniel, that's why your second polygraph wasn't necessary, because they know where the guilty parties are. I asked them to go to every airport, all of the airports, and intake for different provinces, PEI in New Brunswick, because that's where you figured they'd go. You're going to go to the island for some potatoes? What the hell are they going to go there for? Oh my God, maybe they're going to, what? Daniel said, breaking down, crying. What a baby. Crying for his own ass. They will go with anybody because they're, listen to this, because they're undiagnosed autistic. They will go with anybody because they're undiagnosed autistic. Like, that's actually a thing. Oh shit. That's you just making it up. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And my daughter is celebrating her 18th birthday tomorrow, by the way. And she is autistic. Congratulations. I raised her the whole way through. And I learned a lot. Let me see. Because they're undiagnosed autistic, they'll go with anybody. Listen to this. As long as you offer them food or water. As long as you offer these kids food or water, they'll do whatever you say. What does that say about how this asshole was treating his kids at home? Remember, we were talking about the different ways that he's probably disciplining them or instilling discipline, control over these extensions of Malaya. He's probably using food and water in order to, well, control them, punish them. They were way too gaunt. Because they're undiagnosed autistic, you dumbass. You're the only person I've ever heard use that term as an excuse and a justification. Because they're undiagnosed autistic, they'll go with anybody. Can you believe how stupid he sounds at this point in time? Dude, you stick out like a sore thumb. As long as you offer them food or water like I do when I torture them in the back bedroom every time I get pissed off at them. And Malaya's not looking after the kids for me. This is your house too, Daniel. Say, I'll take you home to mom or dad, and they'll immediately get in with them. Well, how do you know all that, Daniel? Has that happened before? Does it happen often? Is that how you do it? Is that how you did it? Did you bait them with food and water to get you, to get into the other room, to come behind the shed while you, what? What did you do? How did you do the second child, Daniel? They'll go with anybody because they're fucking undiagnosed. How insulting. Now, goes on to say, these are great little key statements in an article. This is fantastic things to be putting in the mainstream media if you're seeking justice in this particular scenario. It was late afternoon that Sunday when Daniel and Malaya's relatives began to turn on each other. That's the statement. That's the statement. Oh, Jen R., thank you very much, darling. I didn't actually say that to dry beg anybody. I didn't say that. There's the autism. I appreciate that. I'll get some peaches for Chair Bear tomorrow morning. Now, it was late afternoon that Saturday when Daniel and Malaya's relatives began to turn on one another. In the dooryard of the trailer, a discussion about math use in the home led one of Malaya's family members to hurl an accusation. You should come to this live stream. You should see what we hurl. That Daniel must have something to do with the children's disappearance. How? What would? At least she's reasonably minded. Yeah. That Daniel must have something to do with the disappearance because he's tweaking hard. You could tell he was tweaking on the news. He's under the influence currently. The charge ignited a blaze of angry words. Eventually, Daniel's old lady Janie and lover part-time ordered some of Malaya's family members off of her property. You there. Be gone. Just up the road, Daniel and Malaya waited at the search and rescue headquarters for an update from police. This was as this was all going on. It was around supper time when officers pointed out on maps where searchers had been. Suddenly, Malaya said she wasn't feeling well. She walked out with Meadow on her hip. In the back of an ambulance, Malaya sobbed uncontrollably. Her mother, a registered nurse, Cindy Murray, she should be able to recognize these things, at her side. Daniel pleaded with Malaya to speak to her alone, but her mother stepped in front of him. Cindy, get the fuck out of here, Daniel recalled, saying. So this Globe and Mail, they've got the quote as Daniel. That's Daniel saying that. Cindy, get the fuck out of here. This is Daniel recalling that. I told the bitch to get the hell up on out of here. He's the reporters questioning him on that, using that quote from him. I love that part. That's one of my favorite parts. It tells you exactly, and even in the moments that Daniel's trying to assert his control over Malaya, in the moment that this whole concocted fantasy is being pushed on Malaya. Not that she's innocent in all of this, but the primary actor in all of this, trying to cover their tracks, is that son of a bitch Daniel. And considering the fact that he just murdered and hid the bodies of your two kids, this is a legitimate scenario where you need to be worried for your own life. Influenced. Intimidated. Worked. In the back of an ambulance, Malaya sobbed uncontrollably. Her mother, registered nurse Cindy Murray, at her side. Daniel pleaded with Malaya to speak to her alone, but her mother stepped in front of him. Cindy, get the frick out of here, Daniel recalled, saying. The women hustled to Cindy's car. The women, hustled to Cindy's car. They took him up on his offer. Strapped in Meadow and sped off down the dirt road. I love you, Daniel called out to his child through the rolled up back window. Oh, shit. I love you. So romantic. It was the last time the couple were together. After that, Malaya blocked his punk ass from contacting her, later changed her Facebook status to single gentleman. All you thirsty gentlemen out there looking for a new squeeze. Belinda emerged from the woods just before dark. The only one out there searching was Belinda. Oh, man. Emerged from the woods just before dark. It had been 36 hours since the children had disappeared, and she was considering sleeping in her car to begin searching again at first light. But then she learned Malaya had left Lansdowne. She left Lansdowne, something that has troubled her even since, I would say. Something that has troubled her ever since. If she could leave, Belinda says, her chin quivering in sorrow, then it meant she knew her kids weren't coming back. Very powerful statement. Daniel was also upset that Malaya left. I've been the only... Oh, where did that go? Daniel was also upset that Malaya left. I've been the only one there for them, he sobbed in an interview. She can't control them. Only I can. They act out whenever she's there. She always gets me... Now, hold on. We don't have to finish this yet. All of a sudden, he's into this. He's the one doing everything, and she's the one doing nothing. Think about all of the accusations, like the way that he's phrasing the scenario. It's not making those children's home environment look very good in that moment in time. Daniel was also upset that Malaya left, quoting, I've been the only one there for them, meaning he's the only one there for Jack and Lily. This is him sobbing in an interview. She can't control them. Yeah, they're 4 and 6. Of course you can control a 4 and 6-year-old, you dumbass. He sobbed in an interview. She can't control them, only I can. What does that say about him? What does that statement say about him? He sees himself as a lot more grandiose than Malaya for sure. Only I can control these kids. What does that say to you, friends? She can't control them, only I can. Don't worry, Malaya, I'll go take care of this. Don't worry, Malaya, I am going to sort this out right now. So it sounds like he's really he's admitting that he was controlling these kids somehow. And how exactly was that? Giving them black eyes? They act out whenever she's there. She always gets me to calm them down. That was just an out for the stupid comment he just made. Or get them to stop fighting. Or feed them. Or get them up. Like, would you forget sometimes to feed the kids, son? What a statement. I've been the only one there for them. She can't control them. Only I can. They act out whenever she's there. She always gets me to calm them down or get them to stop fighting or feed them or get them up and put them to bed every night. She was asking me to do everything. It just breaks my heart not to ever see everybody. What? You must be tweaking right now, brother. Because the indicators in all of this is insinuating that there was something wrong. He was being made to do all of the things that he's feeling that she should be responsible for in this household. What does that say? What does that say about this guy? She always gets me to calm them down. It doesn't sound like you wanted them around there to begin with. Now it's breaking your heart that you can't see anybody anymore? Well, you should have thought of that before you got hands-on. The day before the children were reported missing, the Mounties say the children were observed in public with family members. It was the last time they were seen by anyone outside the home. Very important. Daniel has said in an interview that the evening before the kids disappeared, everyone was home. He said he spent the evening working on the fence in the backyard with his moms. It was a night just like any other night for the young children, he added. Though he couldn't remember what time they went to bed. What they had to eat. They can't remember anything of the normal routines of all of the things that he had to do because Malaya wouldn't. So that means that the kids just went by the wayside because they were showing up to school dirty, hungry, inadequate clothes, black eyes, scratches on their face. Friends, there is, however, at least one account of strange activity at the mobile home that night. It's my favorite part. RCMP spokesman Corporal Carly McCann confirmed that police received a tip on May 8th from someone who described hearing a vehicle come and go from the mobile home throughout the night before the children were reported missing. Oh, bang. Investigators are continuing to review and access more than 600 tips from the public and follow up on over 800 tasks, she wrote in an email. A neighbor who spoke to the Globe and Mail said they reported this information on May 8th. The neighbor said they were working on a vehicle in their own yard when they heard the same loud 5-speed car, meaning stick shift, come and go from the trailer about 6 times from the hours of midnight to 5 a.m. after the children's disappearance. To 5 a.m., period. After the children's disappearance, the neighbor considered it important information and reported it to police. High five to that guy. The Globe agreed not to name this neighbor because of concerns for their safety in the community. For the next 5 days, search and rescue teams poured over the area, and on the 6th day of the children's disappearance, police announced that they were scaling back. It was unlikely, they said, that the children were still alive. That's one of the factors you need in this no-body prosecution. So it was important for the RCMP to acknowledge that at that point in time. And, of course, it was unreasonable. In the following weeks, searchers returned twice more. They zeroed in around the home and the natural gas pipeline, a clear-cut trail of land that runs through the countryside where a possible child-sized boot print was found. Lily's blanket was also nearby. Police divers scoured lakes. They drained the septic tank of the mobile home, well, that must have been pleasant, and inspected 4 abandoned mine shafts in Lansdowne, a search that's eerily familiar for locals. Let me see here. Good to see you, Paul Hour. What are you saying in my chat now? Let me see here. Belinda, there's a house on the corner of Montreal Road with a woman named Cindy, and their business just ended not long ago. What business had she, her partner, run? Oh. You're getting a little personal up in my chat. Let me see here. Let me get myself situated again. Who fixes fences in pitch black, Red Miller? No mention of dinner time. Daniel has motives to have got rid of these kids. Oh, absolutely he has. The ongoing... the motive, actually, in a no-body prosecution isn't really as important as anything else. All you have to do is prove to a jury of 12 that they did indeed lie and that those kids are no longer alive. But in this circumstance, we would like to go a step further, considering how stupid these people are. You would have to think that it's just a matter of time before somebody's going to flip in this circumstance. Do it right, and you probably get them to flip for some commissary. No. Where did I read that there? Randy McLean, good to see you. Does it say how long between? No. Just between 12 and 5, which really is good enough to blow the hell out of his claims and his story of being sound asleep all night, and Janie's, at the right time, too. Oh, that must be depressing. Wah, wah, wah. That's got to be deflating. Good. That's perfect. It's the sort of thing that you need to keep them honest in this circumstance at this point in time. It's getting a bit much, considering all of the stuff that Daniel is coming out and spreading online. He's the disinformer in all of this because he's the source. Now, for the next 5 days, my friends, search and rescue teams poured over the area, and on the 6th day of the children's disappearance, police announced that they were scaling back. It was unlikely, they said, that the children were still alive. The following week, searchers returned twice more. They zeroed in around the home and natural gas pipeline, a clear-cut trail of land that runs through the countryside, where a plausible child-sized boot print was found. Lily's blanket was also nearby. Police divers scoured lakes. They drained the septic tank of the mobile home and inspected 4 abandoned mine shafts in Lansdowne. I realize I just read this. A search that's eerily familiar for locals. In 2002, amateur mineral explorers discovered the remains of a man who had disappeared 19 years earlier in one of those old copper mines. 39-year-old Alex Penny's car was found abandoned on a dirt road in Lansdowne months after his mysterious disappearance. It's a chilling homicide that has never been solved, one that rattles around in the collective memories of the people who live here. Police have said that they plan to search more of these old mine shafts for the children. A provincial database shows 5 within several kilometers of the mobile home. Dozens more pepper the backwoods and rural highways of Pictou County. Police have described the case as highly unusual. Most missing persons cases are resolved shortly after they're reported to police, but the disappearance of Jack and Lily has become a complex and intensive major crime investigation involving a tremendous amount of careful, deliberate, investigative work. Well, let's put a move on, says RCMP Staff Sergeant Rob McMahon. In an update last month, the Nova Scotia government offered a $150,000 reward for any information. So far, the Mounties say that they've drawn on units from other provinces, interrogated dozens of people, sought 10 judicial authorizations to seize records. 10, I wonder what those 10 were. Or search warrants. Let's see, administered polygraph tests, big deal. Took possession of electronic devices, viewed thousands of video files, and are awaiting forensic tests on items found during the search, including Lily's pink blanket. I think that spells it out right there as to what exactly they're waiting for before they slap the cuffs on this son of a bitch. They're looking to make it a little bit more official. That's their answer right there. They're just awaiting a few things before they decide to move it to the next step. You get it? It's not going cold in that sense. They're waiting before the perp walk. What are you guys going to wear for Daniel's perp walk? Daniel initially told police that the Globe on May 5th that the pink blanket found in the woods did not belong to Lily. But he later changed his story to a subsequent interview. Let's move on here. Daniel initially told police that the Globe and Mail on May 5th that the pink blanket found in the woods did not belong to Lily, but he later changed his story. In a subsequent interview, he suggested the blanket was planted, taken from his week-old garbage, just what you want. He also claimed 2 of his sweaters mysteriously disappeared from his home after the kids went missing. He declined to elaborate any further. Behind the scenes, people's concern for the children's welfare had already raised red flags. The child protection supervisor in nearby town of New Glasgow rushed to prepare a memo for Deputy Minister Craig Beaton about Jack and Lily on the day the children disappeared, according to redacted briefing notes obtained by the Globe through Freedom of Information legislation. So you're telling me, what does that mean? A child protection supervisor in the nearby town of New Glasgow rushed to prepare a memo for Deputy Minister Craig Beaton about Jack and Lily on the day the children disappeared. Something tells me this case is going to be affecting Canadian case law in this circumstance. Something's got to be done. And they're probably going through it and recognizing it right now. Of course, it's just me thinking. Anyway. Two weeks later, in mid-May, another memo about the children was prepared for senior staff in the province's Child Welfare Department. Opportunities and Social Development Minister Scott Armstrong, who also told the Globe he asked for more information about his department's interaction with these children, has so far declined to discuss how the government responded to concerns about Jack and Lily's well-being prior to their disappearance. They'll be doing an internal investigation right away. That's probably what it was all about. So you can see the writing on the wall. What is known about Jack and Lily's interaction with child welfare authorities is that a social worker came to the trailer over concerns raised by the school several months before their disappearance to assess their home life. Yeah, that's always the same. So there's more to it than just to assess the home life. You know that. It's always to assess the home life in that sense, but because these kids were showing up battered, essentially, and malnourished and things. Heaven's sakes. 2 weeks later, in mid-May, another memo about the children was prepared for I already just read that, didn't I? Yes. What is known about Jack and Lily's interaction? We just read that. Teachers and other professionals who work with children have a legal duty to report if they have reasonable grounds to suspect a child has or may have is or is about to suffer abuse, and home visits occur when there's reason to be concerned about a child's safety and care. Daniel, however, told the Globe the visit was related to the kids' learning difficulties at school. He said the children were suspected of having autism and were scheduled to see doctor the same months they vanished. He declined to answer further questions about the involvement of the child protection staff in the kids' lives. So there we go with another escalating. That's another tension within the household. December, January, February, March, April, May. So about 6-7 months we know of the 2 years that they were living there. Probably right back to September. This is JK. So it's really only relevant to this year. And maybe last year. Because the kids were in school. So you would have had to think that there's more than just one. We don't know that yet, though. I'm just thinking in my head. So there's the kids' school right there. Oh my God, they're going to be affected in this circumstance. These kids will be traumatized, changed forever. Probably going to grow up and be interested in true crime like I did. I was. This situation happened to me and all my friends when I was in Cub Scouts at our school. And ever since that day, that's what's tied me and hooked me into these circumstances of people who bring harm towards children. That was right around the time that that crazy clown in Chicago was burying kids in his house. John Gacy. Anyway, that's back in the day. And what's his name? That douchebag in L.A., that serial killer was going... what's his name? The one that all the chicks like. Anyway, I'm all over the place. Sorry, I'm just thinking. From the outside, there were signs the children's home's life was strained. They were developmentally behind the other children and arrived at school grubby and without the appropriate winter clothing, prompting staff to provide it for them. According to a school board employee with direct knowledge, the Globe is not identifying the source because they're not authorized to disclose details about students. Last December, Jack came to school with a black eye. According to a photo of him posted by his elementary school, oh my God, the photo of the class trip on December 13th, 2024, 5 months before he and his sister disappeared, shows him sitting next to other students in a forest with green and purple bruise below his left eye. Another photo shows possible black eye and bruising on Jack's face in a photo taken in September 2024, an injury that Daniel defended on social media, saying it was caused by Lily. Daniel did not respond to questions asking how Jack received the black eye in December, but in a private Facebook message that was shared with the Globe, he acknowledged Jack had many black eyes. One time, Lily punched him in the face, he wrote. He also said Lily had a black eye when the children went missing from an incident with a Tonka truck that occurred on May 1st. Isn't this all just convenient? And that he's trying to sit here and normalize the black eyes in these children's environment? You don't think that's a bit of an issue? He also said Lily had a black eye when the children went missing from an incident with a Tonka truck that occurred on May 1st, the day before the children disappeared. So think about that a little bit. He's using some foresight there as well, just in case you find the bodies and she does have a black eye. Well, that happened from a Tonka truck, not me. Meanwhile, the child's dead. He's already working to, position himself as having some sort of excuse when there is no excuses left in this particular sequence of events. I'm sure the coroner is going to agree with you. And kids copy what it is that they do, meaning, the pecking order in that circumstance. If you're putting hands on your kids at home, often they just monkey see, monkey do, and replicate that and integrate that into the way that they deal with the environment and their environment when you're not around. The family was under pressure. A confluence of financial woes left the couple turning to relatives for help. Like many lower tier workers at the mill. Oh, there's a fucking dig. Daniel had been cut back to one shift a week during the spring thaw because of an annual ban on heavy logging trucks on soggy local roads. His car off the road because it needed repairs he couldn't afford, wasn't drivable, and he had to rely on his uncle, who also worked at the mill, to take him to work. Which uncle is that there? Wonder which uncle that is. Do you drive a 6-speed, I wonder? Or Malaya, whose maternal grandmother had recently helped her buy this particular white Nissan. That's the best thing you could have given her in order to get the hell out of there at her earliest convenience. The family was under pressure. I already just read that. Okay. Had recently helped buy a white Nissan SUV. Daniel's father, Earl, with an E, Early, said Daniel's father, Early, said he bought the couple groceries and gas. That's a real insult coming from Earl. Look at how Earl lives, and you got him buying you stuff? What the hell? And provided firewood to heat their home. Daniel, however, denied having money problems and had claimed to friends that he was getting into investing and turning his life around after a divorce. What are you getting into investing, are you, son? Heaven's sakes. I recommend the Candlestick Trading Bible, available on Amazon, Daniel. Maybe you want to start reading that in your prison cell. Other means of cash flow had also been cut off in recent months. Child support payments from Jack and Lily's biological father stopped after he lost his job. I wouldn't expect much after you iced him out of your life. Malaya's monthly Canada child benefit check or baby bonus, which was under federal guidelines, would be about $1,900 per month. It was halted because Daniel hadn't filed his taxes. What? Holy shit. Think about that for a second. Never mind this $34,000 in debt to, already allegedly defrauding the government out of benefits. First of all, why aren't you filing taxes, you lazy prick? Why don't you just file them? You can lie on them. Who cares? It's not like it's going to make a difference anyway. But at least you don't have any hassle. You know that you're going to get money back. You're a tweaker. You should know about that. You should know about just going and filling out, your tax forms on a website and getting money. I thought everybody did that. And how is it? Think about what a letdown to the family that is. So you have all of these kids relying on you. And even though your hours are cut down, that's still from last year. Like, you have a T4 from last year. You have hours. You have money coming back to you. You barely make anything over there. They're going to give you a significant benefit. So you're missing out on all kinds of other benefits by avoiding even filing your taxes, you dumbass. That blows my mind. Like all of the GST credit and all of that stuff that comes back to you, because you definitely make below a certain level, Daniel. And even worse, even lower than that. You're really neglecting. That's almost crazy to even think about. What are you doing? Listen to this again, guys. And there's a big... What the fuck is going on here, dude? So her baby bonus is $1,900 per month. It was halted because Daniel hadn't filed his taxes, which were due by April 30th. May 1st, May 2nd. Holy shit. What the fuck are you thinking? How are they going to feed themselves? How are they going to get by? She was about to kiss all of the money that was keeping food in their mouths away because that stupid Daniel didn't bother paying his taxes. But because of their living situation, and probably, let's not even bring up anything else by now, but because of the living situations in that sense, old stepdad looking after everything. Well, you didn't look after paying your taxes. That's going to affect your baby bonus. You have to file it a certain way. And you guys were living there for 2 years, 24 months, ever since you knocked her up. Malaya's monthly Canada Child Benefit check or baby bonus, which is under federal guidelines, would be about $2,000 per month. It was halted because Daniel hadn't filed his taxes, which were due by April 30th. That's a big, big motivating factor, especially in front of 12 jurors, boys. Well, it's a baby bonus that comes, but when you don't have anything else and you don't have work, that's a huge piece of the puzzle. That was being stopped. I wonder what was preventing Daniel from filing taxes. If he filed taxes, they probably would have had to follow up and got in contact with, and there been a complication because of maybe the alleged defrauding by claiming his kids when they didn't actually live there, which is what Wade was saying. Incorporate that into this scenario and the possibilities, but let's put that aside for now. This is just the craziest fucking thing ever. He's also financially negligent in this sense. This is the craziest thing ever. So, what were they going to do after that? Who was going to pay for things? You want to talk about restricting your lifestyle? Try getting around with no money whatsoever. Zero. Negative. You owe. And for that $2,000 a month, which is not even enough to get by on, especially for 3 kids and 2 adults, but it's something. That wasn't even going to be there. So there's a real factor in the. They talk about these things in all kinds of journals about familicide, about people who decide for financial reasons that it's the best course of action and introduce a chemically induced mindset. Don't even have to worry about the drugs at this point. It just exacerbates everything. And giving him an inability to control his emotions. Now he didn't really have any use for those kids around there. He wasn't even going to get the benefits, the tax benefits for his own child, which is absurd. Why? It's one thing if you're a millionaire in that circumstance. You're quite the opposite of that. You're a person who needs this money in order to pull yourself out of absolute poverty. Because without it, you have to pay so much more. It's a huge amount of money. It's another paycheck for you guys every month. Why would you be walking away from that? All simply because you didn't want to file your taxes. And I wonder, that's not even precise. I wonder from what year he hadn't filed. Maybe this bullshit had finally come up to Daniel and caused some troubles in his new living arrangement. It's usually I've never even heard of that dude. But I guess I just have never heard of that before. Sorry to sound so mindfuck, but this is a motivating factor. This is a key motivating factor, and it just shows you man, I'm mind fucked. I got to sit on that for a while. I'll continue reading. Her payments were halted. Oh my God. Because Daniel hadn't filed his taxes, which were due by April 30th. The struggles didn't end there. That's really big. The struggles didn't end there. Malaya described Daniel as controlling, and she had wanted out, writing a message in a message to Belinda on June 15th that I never wanted to stay there. I never wanted to stay there. That's hard to believe, Malaya. No shit. Belinda wrote back saying she wished Malaya would have reached out. We would have done what we could to help. I know, Malaya responded. My mom is saying the same thing. Cindy, Malaya's mother, declined to be interviewed. Well, holy shit, it's not every day that you get out alive from a double murderer. Malaya's almost lucky to be alive in this circumstance. I don't know. We don't know everything that's happened yet. Calm down. Cindy, Malaya's mother, declined to be interviewed. After the children's disappearance, Malaya also confided in her paternal grandmother, Connie Brooks, who's a member of the Sipkinakitik First Nation. She described how Daniel would hold her down to take her phone. He was having her, I don't know what you call it, scared. She couldn't go anywhere, do anything. She was intimidating the fuck out of him. Like you do. Like bullies, like misogynist bastards do. You're holding her down while she's making you go rear her kids for her. Are you sure? Are you sure that you're not forcing her to give priority to Meadow while you go deal with your problems? Who knows? Now that we know that you hadn't paid your taxes there, Al Capone, that the feds cut off your funding, your little funding for your trap house. We weren't buying any food with it anyway. So those kids were about to have a lot less than they already had. Up to that point, they were getting $1,900. April 30th, they cut the payments off. May 1st, the kids are reported missing. Well, normally you're expecting somebody to take out some insurance policies before that happened. But of course, I think there was a lot more sinister of a motive behind this to begin with. This is sad. When she asked her granddaughter about the rug use in the home, she said Malaya told her that Daniel concealed his addiction for nearly the first year of the relationship. Daniel did not respond to questions about these allegations, but he has insisted in interviews with the Globe that he has never struggled with drugs and does not have a problem. Oh, yeah, we recognize denial. Let's see. Yeah, Daniel did not respond to questions about these allegations, but he's insisted in interviews with the Globe that he's never struggled with drugs and does not have a drug problem. Despite that, he has admitted to taking the mathematics, and pretty much everything he said and recently started attending Narcotics Anonymous 3 times a week because he just to educate himself. Oh, this isn't going to go very well there at Narcotics Anonymous. You're already denying you have a problem, but you go 3 times a week. This is the type of garbage that you get from this douchebag. Dude, I just want to often heave you right in the nuts, but I'd never do that because you're going to get it bad enough in prison. Now, let's see. Daniel did not respond to questions about these allegations. That makes me laugh. Let me reread that. But he has insisted in interviews with the Globe that he's never struggled with the rugs, does not have a rug problem. Despite that, he has admitted to taking the mathematics and pretty much everything, end quote. He said recently started attending Narcotics Anonymous 3 times a week. You didn't tell me this was a comedy, article. Holy mackerel. And is taking online courses in anger management. Oh, you didn't. No, you didn't. These are all the things that he's probably being made to do through the agency in order to see Meadow. Because now it's going to look bad if you don't do it. Listen to this. He said recently he started attending Narcotics Anonymous 3 times a week It is taking online courses in anger management, depression. You don't need any help with that. Parenting, child protection, substance abuse, unaliving, and violent behavior that are recognized by child protection officials. Well, that's all you had to say. They're making you do all of that. I have to clear my name for CPS, he said. It's best to do that. I have to clear my name for CPS. No, you'd probably want to clear your name for the cops first. Everything else will fall into line afterwards, but something tells me. Let's see, it's best to do that. I got that one's a double. Without answers, my friends, theories abound. For some, maybe they're a way to hold out hope or to shift attention elsewhere. There are those who believe that the children are still alive. Oh, it's ridiculous. Taken or hidden somewhere. One such rumor circulating in social media. That's not really true, by the way. You don't see that anywhere. Nobody believes that. Is that Lily and Jack were taken by one of Malaya's relatives and are being held in a reserve. Yeah, that was months ago, and nobody believes that, by the way. Just a little update for you at Globe. The rumor prompted Sipkinakatic Chief Michelle Glasgow, how did I pronounce that? How did I do? Fill out the questionnaire later. To respond on social media. That whole dialogue was made up by a racist fool. Sounds like Mr. T. It's a racist fool, and anyone entertaining it is a racist fool. I pity the fool. Ha! She wrote in a text message that she posted on Facebook on July 30th. Sounds like they got the right person in there. Now, the vacuum of information about the missing kids has stoked a voracious demand for clues and conjecture. Great words there. Great words for Scrabble. On social media and in the online true crime community. Oh, come on now. Here we go. Let's go hand some clout out here. One of the most popular online sources for true crime, amateur commentary. This coming from the Globe and Mail. Listen, forget about it. It's a criming shame, a Vancouver-based YouTube channel which has morphed into exclusively discussing this case. Its live streams about Jack and Lily have been viewed 500,000 times. That's actually not very many, by the way. For several hours, multiple times a week. That's only relevant if you're actually making money on the AdSense there, Globe. But just love it. Love the article. Host Sonny Austin, ooh, so porn sounding, invites guests on the show to discuss the case and rants provocatively. She's not that provocative. Well, I don't know. Maybe she is to some people. Calling out those. You want to see provocative? I'll show you provocative. Calling out those who she disbelieves. In the case of Jack and Lily, Daniel frequently pops up in her live chats like a whack-a-mole, she says. I like that. Belinda has also called in as a guest. More than that, she's catfishing our live chat right now, Globe. Now, let's see. Like a whack-a-mole, she says. Belinda has also called in as a guest. Most recently, she presented text messages with Malaya, who, when reached by phone, refused to verify whether the text messages were hers. Ooh. Malaya has also repeatedly declined to be interviewed by the Globe, saying police advised her not to speak with the real media. She said she has put her faith 100% in the authorities to find Lily and Jack. That has me concerned. But, of course, that's a statement to put in the media, so because you can't sway old Daniel. That woman's going to turn. She's going to flip. We're going to flip her like a McDonald's hamburger. Now, on the ground, the high-profile case has also conjectured... What does that say? No. Conjured up other drama. Oh, really? Where? Recently, a local online content creator arrived in the home, of Malaya's mother, Cindy, under the auspices... Very auspicious, like you're in a Chinese restaurant, of buying a horse trailer. The man, serendipitously, isn't that quite the language you're taking? You and your $2 words, no wonder you guys charge like $34 a month, recorded a 45-minute interaction with her partner, Wade Paris, discussing the missing children, and posted, let's see, where? Let me see the interviews with the Globe and Mail. He said he has nothing to... where am I? On the ground, the high profile... No, it's way up. Did I miss a part? She said she has to put her faith 100% in the authorities. On the ground, the high profile... Yeah, it's right here. Cindy's under the auspices of buying a horse trailer. The man serendipitously recorded a 45-minute interaction with her partner, Wade Paris, discussing the missing children and posted the video online. In interviews with the Globe, Daniel has said he has nothing to do with the children's disappearance, and he said he has passed a polygraph test with police to prove it. Oh, yeah. It's proof, absolute proof. Listen, I can prove it. I passed a polygraph. He lamented the stigma the case carries over into his everyday life. Oh, here we go. He's on stress leave from the mill. People stare or give him dirty looks wherever he goes out in public. Somebody should follow him around with a camera and see some of this. Interview. Go and listen to everybody whispering behind his back. Psst, 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 psst. What a fucking douchebag. People stare or give him dirty looks whenever he goes out into public. Recently, at a used car dealership, he said a salesman snatched a vehicle key from his hand and walked away. When he realized he was talking to Lily and Jack's stepfather. Well, good on him. That guy deserves a medal. He probably is going to get a raise because of that. His Facebook is filled with direct messages from strangers. Well, he already knows that you don't have any money. You know? He knows too much already. Used car dealer. Even the used car dealers are turning on him. You're really low, bro. Oh, shit. Some of these things that he says doesn't even matter. That if they just add to the hilarity of some of the crap that he tries to get over on people. What a bunch of nonsense. Recently at a used car dealership. What the fuck were you going to buy? You can't even afford to fix your old car. What the fuck is Earl going to buy gas? Was it powered with wood stove? You got a wood stove in that some car? A steam car? Doubt it. His Facebook is filled with direct messages from strangers calling him a child unaliver, which he is, by the way. Asking him, and I quote, "Where are the bodies?" Everybody wants to know that. You won't give us the details, Daniel. It's more than obvious you're not that good of a liar. You should have watched more the first 48 or something. Now, he said they ask every single day, where are the bodies? Well, it's like hell on earth, boy. Purgatory. You're in it. But then a profile that the Globe has previously communicated with Daniel on also appears in Facebook chat groups frequently, offering up riddles and conjecture that the children, remember he's like the Riddler, and conjecture that the children were taken by someone they know and are being held prisoner. As long as I remain the target, the sick person or persons that have the kids may relax and may make a mistake. RCMP better capitalize on that, the user wrote this week. Right. His mother, Janie, boy, she is a treat, has said she also believes the children are still alive because her heart says so. You remember that. That is going to be... Even the jurors would probably laugh at how crazy you're acting, Janie. His mother, Janie, also said that she also believes the children are still alive because she says they have never gone into the woods by themselves or wandered off. A self-described hermit. It took her more than 2 months to speak publicly. Doing an interview for the CBC, one that she had to call them out because she was probably willed into it by old Daniel because he wasn't looking too good at that point in time. Their first story didn't take any traction. It took her more than 2 months to speak publicly, doing an interview for the CBC. No, it was the other way around. They mentioned it right in the interview. Well, why did you call us out here today there, you old bag? Doing an interview for the CBC and releasing voice memos. Voice memos. Remember when she was all hammered up in some of those voice memos? Remember that one? Eating McDonald's, mouthful, carrying on, telling people that she's not accepting any more friend requests. This is you can tell that she's lacking any self-awareness in this circumstance. Daniel's got to be putting her up to that stuff. Anyway, in Malaya's Mi'kmaq community of Sipakaknakatik, her father, Henry Brooks, is hopeful his grandchildren will be found. He says the last time he spoke with the children, Jack told him that he loved them. "It's weighing heavy on me," he said, "really heavy." At her home in Musquoda Bois, B-O-I-T is Bois, isn't it? Belinda spends her days trying to pronounce that goddamn place's name, alternatively tending to her sprawling back garden and advocating for her missing grandchildren. She appears on YouTube live streams and in social media chats, picking up breadcrumbs along the way that she hopes will lead to Jack and Lily. Yeah, definitely be keeping a file. Something tells me she is. In her blue and white kitchen, where Jack once crawled across the laminate floor and Lily hammed it up with her gardening hats and old eyeglasses, she's resigned to a grim reality. "I think somebody there must know what happened. Listen. I think somebody there must know what happened," she said about the mobile home in Lansdowne. "I don't believe my grandchildren are alive. But to not get answers, it's like no. Whoops. Too far. It's like no, there's answers out there. 2 kids just don't disappear in the morning and nobody knows nothing. So if they don't find answers outside that home, then the answers are inside that home." Oh my God. Oh my God. Those are heavy statements. Absolutely. Truthful. It sounds like Belinda has more knowledge about detective work than Daniel does in this circumstance. In hindsight, she says she wishes she would have pushed harder to see the kids, to see Lily on her birthday in March. Looking at photos of the children from the past 2 years, she noticed that they looked thin, possibly malnourished, with dry, cracked lips. Something that she says might have picked up on should she have seen them in person. When it's worded like that, it still makes me think about how they were being mistreated by Daniel. And it makes her wonder about the other adults in their lives. Oh, I guess her too. She recently learned others had concerns about their children's safety in that home. She also wants to know what child protection social workers knew prior to Jack and Lily's disappearance. Well, something tells me that we're going to find that out soon enough. I hate to say it, every one of us failed them, Belinda said. We all failed these children. Let's not forget that there's others out there right now. That doesn't mean that you have to go balls to the wall and start reporting your neighbors for all kinds of things, though. Unless you need to. That was an article and a half. Holy shit. So, friends, you know what's really weighing heavy on my mind right now? So this whole scenario is going to be in my head. I'm not going to be able to sleep now. This whole scenario is prime motive. That really offers a new window into possibilities that we hadn't anticipated before. This is a more accurate answer about the state of things around that trailer. What the hell was going on, and how does that $34,000 fit into it? Is the $34,000 that Wade is talking about, and him not paying his or filing his tax returns? No, it's not just like that. It can't be just like that, because if he didn't file it for 1 year, it wouldn't affect anything. He wouldn't file it. So it had to have been an ongoing thing for them, the Canada Revenue Agency, to finally say to him, look, we have to cut off your benefits because the dude that you moved in with isn't filing his tax returns, and there's a problem here, and there's some obvious fraud going on here. The only thing you have to do is just fill out your taxes, dude. You don't even, it's not even that difficult. That's so mind-blowing. So April 30th, 2025, after that date, there was no more benefits. These children are 4 and 6. They have these benefits till the age of 18, and Daniel doesn't even give a good goddamn about that circumstance. Well, what about Meadow? Where were you going to get the money to raise Meadow in this circumstance? So all of the baby bonus money, any sort of benefit that comes from even being in a relationship, what the fuck is the point in being married then? Why are you in this habitual relationship? See, it at this point resembles more like some drug dealer controlling his hoes. Like Daniel's a pimp, and all of a sudden he's baited her into this circumstance, groomed her for a little bit, kept her hooked on drugs, then really has no interest in any romantic relationship in that sense or being a father. He's just going to exploit the fuck out of her and get her to make him some money. Do you know what I'm getting at? But because a person who's concerned and worried about the future welfare of their kids, how the hell were you going to raise your kids? Where was your next meal coming from? What were you thinking? Yeah, Canadians, yeah, Amy Brownies. Of course, everybody uses TurboTax. They would especially. You could just download the software, get it done in 15 minutes, and be like $2,000 richer at the moment by filling out some rando numbers. If you don't want to, if you don't want to be honest, but they always catches up with you. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter. Why wouldn't you just be honest? You were working at the mill, or you working under the table? I wouldn't qualify that as a job. They were probably paying taxes. You would have to expect it was a legitimate job. Or maybe he's just calling it a job and it wasn't actually a thing. Even if you're not making an income, you have to file, especially if you've got kids in that sense. I've never seen anybody get cut off like that. That's so bizarre to me. Annette, you sound like Janie. Today I was crying over Jack and Lily, and this is so heartbreaking. I'm just kidding. How their lives were when they were alive, and that they are such adorable kids. They're beautiful. I'm so heartbroken about what it is that they went through, but think about all of the abuse that happens when the door closes. Think about the level of evil that goes on to go through all of the motions simply to put on an illusion for people on the outside. Meanwhile, what's happening behind the scenes? How bad are they being mistreated when everybody turns their backs and goes home? And what happened to Malaya? She had to have been all fucked up. All messed up, probably on some substances. There's nothing to be ashamed of in that sense. Don't worry about it. But I'm just trying to make it make sense as to why you were so malleable. What she was so afraid of in this circumstance. Daniel, well, who cares what he says? But she was in, listen, she's 27, 26, 25, 24, 25, 26. She's a young girl. He's in his 30s. He's already 7 to 10 years older than her in that sense. So there's already a control factor. What in the hell did you think when you went home with him the first time? I mean, you want to come back to my mom's trailer? Come back to Janie's house? I'm going to throw a leg over you? Holy shit, man. The part of the article talking about how these people even went as far as to put their hand in that awful hamster cage and then in the dryer that was rusting out in the front. Did you guys search those nasty mattresses? You take them downtown, you get the rookies to scan them over for forensics. Oh boy, it's time for my coffee break. Holy mackerel. What are you guys saying? Sky Painter. Daniel has no use for the children if they're not bringing in money. He only worked at the time 1 day a week. It's hard not to think that it doesn't have a lot to do with it. It's probably one of the major factors you would have to think. But a situation like that would make somebody snap. Absolutely. You could see that. So, somebody takes the only income that you guys have. Like, you see that letter coming? They probably got a notification letter. They probably got a notification letter in that circumstance. And it would have had to do... Think about that, though. Think about that for a second. It would have had to do with the $34,000 that Wade was saying, because he was saying that it had something to do with him fucking over the government out of $32,000 by really claiming the children were living with him when they really weren't. Fuck, if it was that easy, maybe sign me up. We'll pay it back. We'll go invest it and 10x that money and then pay them back and go on with the rest. Let's turn on the money printers. It has to have something to do with that, because this is probably not like you get a random letter in the mail saying that you didn't file your taxes last year, so we're going to cut your benefits off. It's never like that. It's not that like dystopian. But if you don't, you're giving like years to resolve issues when it comes to taxes. If you filled out your tax papers wrong, you can always update them. There's always that chance to. It's not like anything set in stone. These are finances. You understand what I mean? Like, so it has to have something to do with something he defrauded of the government, keeping him away from wanting to confront whatever the Canada Revenue Agency, our IRS, has over him. And it's come to a head. And they're probably investigating it from the inside and have the connection with Malaya because they have a child together, so they have to update all of their benefits over the internet. You know what I mean? Yeah, they have to update all of their information, their living arrangements. Was Malaya filing taxes? Probably, or else she's not going to get that benefit. She has to. She's going to file taxes every single year. Daniel, fuck, why didn't you just go move out in the 35-foot trailer? Maybe you wouldn't have any problems. So Daniel is really the problem behind everything. No wonder she had to cut him off and break up with him and break up. The Canada Revenue Agency can now see that she's single on her Facebook. It was for tax purposes. She has to be broken up with him in order to get back on the list to get her baby bonus back and out of there. I would say that was the only move coming the day that she moved. You're telling me that your benefits ended on April 30th, 2025, and the kids are gone May 1st. Boy, you guys didn't leave a whole lot of room for question. Oh, you'd be... How could it not be and have something to do with it, right? It's something that really... Well, it's not... Hold on here. What am I talking about? Well, she's only going to get benefits for Meadow now because obviously there's 2 kids that aren't coming back. Excuse me. Respects to Jack and Lily. I got all confused there for a moment. But she doesn't even have Meadow at this point in time, so she's not getting any benefits in that sense. Excuse me. I have to correct myself. Oh, shit. You're not getting anything now. Holy crap. Well. Yeah, right. Black Opal. There's always plenty of chances to rectify things. At least contact them. Christ, sign up and say that you'll pay $1 a month back for the rest of your life. That's satisfactory. Believe me, that's better than nothing. Especially if you're not making anything. How much tax do you pay for 1 day per week per work? Well, if it was only that easy. It all depends on what you do. Oh, that depends who you're asking. Oh, it's good to see you. Thanks for stopping by, Belinda Gray. I didn't get to any of the statements, but hopefully they were nice to you in my chat room. Yeah, stop by anytime. This is going on 2 hours. It's 9:30. That's like 5 hours of streaming today about this. We had to get this out of us because tomorrow is going to begin a lot more concise, detailed theories from people. You can see how accurate people can be at this point in time when it comes to the contributing factors that made Daniel do what it is that he's doing. and the sort of influence that he has over Malaya. We've got to figure these things out. We've got to figure these things out. Now that I read that, we've got the car, the neighbor, but this whole tax thing is fairly significant. I'm glad I read that. I almost missed that. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for sticking it out tonight. I won't ramble on. I'm getting too tired. I'm getting rambly. I'll check back in tomorrow or tomorrow evening a little bit later, and we'll catch up. In the meantime, go watch everybody else who's talking about Jack and Lily. Almost everybody. All right, peace.